Call the meeting to order. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Call the roll, please.
McCarrigan.
Here.
Scanlon.
Here.
Caldwell.
Here.
Bidlack.
Here.
Solomon.
Here.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. 3, for public information, a copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is available for review. 4, notice of changes in the agenda by the city clerk. Additions may not be made to this agenda less than 24 hours before the beginning of the meeting unless added under item 5 of this agenda. Do we have any changes?
No changes, Your Honor.
5, citizens with business not scheduled on the agenda as required by state law. No matter may be considered under this item unless council determines that the matter requires emergency action. Do we have any emergency actions? Okay. 6, closed session. A, council reserves the right to enter into closed session if deemed necessary if the item is on the agenda as per section 84-1410 of the Nebraska Revised Statutes. 7, consent calendar. Items in the consent calendar are proposed for adoption by one action for all items unless any member of the council requests that an item be considered separately. Do we have any questions or comments on the consent calendar?
I move to approve the consent calendar.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Scanlon, second by Colwell. Any questions or comments on the consent calendar? Okay, call the roll, please.
Caldwell.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
Bidlack.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes. 8, financial report. Council to receive the June 2024 financial report.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Lane Desire, Finance Director. I'm going to start on page 1 and 2 here and go through those kind of briefly, and then I'll get to the 3 and 4. So overall, everything looks really good. A lot of the reason for the change in cash being so positive, I'm sitting on that street bond still. The health insurance reserve has been healthy too, which Matt had asked me a question about that, and a lot of that's just lack of claims. We just haven't had as many claims this year as we've had in previous years, which is good for renewals as well too. On the monthly change in cash, it really wasn't anything. We did the transfers for cemetery and stormwater this month, so that's why cemetery perpetual is so negative. But that, or the change in cash was negative, I guess, was because of a transfer over. And then on the budget to actual comparison sheets, I want to point out a mistake that I made on this. I did this on Thursday last week when I was at home sick on my laptop, and I had my 4-month-old sitting on my lap, so I'm going to blame him. But wastewater, that says the budgeted expenses was $2 million. It's actually $4 million, and that is the sum of 2 other numbers. That is not the sum of all of their budgets, and so they actually have $2,193,944 in their budgeted expenditures left. So I saw that number, and that scared me because we have a 3 payroll cycle in August, and I'm like, they're not going to survive August. But that was my 4-month-old fault, so you can blame him. But overall, if you look at those, I mean, on the budgeted expenditure side of things, that looks really good. Everything in there is a positive number. That's how much they have left to spend, and they're not saying they're going to spend all that, but that's the cushion that we have in the state budget. And then on the bottom side, the revenues, anything you see in parentheses that's left to gain, anything that's in a positive there would be revenues over the budgeted revenues at that point in time. So there's a few of them that we've seen. Debt service is one of them that's had a little bit more money this year. Economic development's another one that's seen an influx in revenue. So, and those are the big ones. Oh, and special projects, that's because of the loan payments. So, and then that next page is just the same spreadsheet that you guys got with the revenues and expenditures this year last time, but I wanted to put something in there that showed it with the budget as well too. So I'm going to keep perfecting this. I just been a little busy, so. But overall, everything does look really, really good. Reserves are healthy, so.
Okay.
That's it. Any questions?
And then percentages by department, everyone's healthy and in good shape.
Yeah, and that's one of the improvements I'm going to make to this sheet as I get more time. I don't want my 4-month-old to do it, but I'm going to add percentages through the year there, because we're 75% through the year, so we have 3 months left in the fiscal year, so. So that's on these pages, if you look at that over there, that 75% is kind of the number you're looking for, so.
Okay. Do you have any other questions or comments? Do you have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Scanlon, second by Solomon. Any questions or comments? Okay, call the roll, please.
Solomon,
Yes.
Vidlac,
Yes.
Scanlon,
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
All right, 9, public hearings. A, council to conduct a public hearing set for this day at 6 p.m. to receive a report from the LBA 40 Citizen Review Committee. We'll open the public hearing.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So the LB 840 Citizen Review Committee met last week, and you get the pleasure of hearing from me this evening. So everything looks to be in pretty good shape for the job report summary for the year. We're working on sending out a couple more job credit report letters to Kroll, Hydrozen, Complete Care, and Gardner Technologies. So we'll be getting some job credit reports back from them probably in the next couple of months. Everybody's in good standing right now in terms of their loans and grants. Job reports are coming in, and those full-time employee positions are looking good, as you can see. We have 2.6 million in the budget right now. That 250,000 for Walther Farms will be taken out here pretty soon, but then that should be replenished by the sales and use tax that came in this month here in the next couple. So do you guys have any questions on the job report summary?
I assume the blue is the balance on the loan, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that is correct, right, Wayne? Okay.
And what does the green stand for? Are those ones that just are,
Paid off, is that
okay,
for the green? Yeah, I have it. Because all of them are 0.
Yes.
okay.
Okay, I didn't want to say something that would be wrong.
And then the yellow?
And then the yellow is,
The active balance after the job credits have been applied.
have been applied.
Okay, thank you. All right.
And then I know that there were some questions about Walther Farms. I did ask him to put in front of you an employment projections and then the supplier information sheet that was actually in their application packet from Walther Farms, just so you could kind of see the numbers and what they were bringing into the community to kind of help explain that loan a little bit more.
Okay. And did they close another location to open this one?
No, the Lisco
No?
location
Okay.
is still open.
It is?
Yep.
Okay.
So they project these numbers from the Lisco location that they'll grow, opening the new Alliance location.
Okay,
So they're moving west, so
moving this way?
we don't know
Okay.
if they're gonna move further west, you know, originally there was talk that they would be. But
Okay.
they might be as far west as they're gonna get.
But it could
Depends on
happen.
soil.
You never know, yep. They had to get all of the soil testing done and all of that, and it looked more favorable in that area, so.
Okay. All right. Any questions from anybody? Okay. We'll close the public hearing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. B, council to conduct a public hearing set for this day at 6 p.m. to receive information regarding the amended and renewed economic development plan. We'll open the public hearing.
Okay, so this evening, the City of Scottsbluff amended and renewed economic development plan is before you for a public hearing. This plan would go into effect on October 1 of 2025. with funds being collected until October 1st of 2035. Kind of crazy to think about that we're getting up there. If voted on by the residents of Scottsbluff. However, this is not a new plan, aside from a few additions to eligible business that can qualify for LB 840 funding. So I'll just give you a brief history and go over the general intent and proposed goals of the program along with the changes. So the voters of the city of Scottsbluff approved an economic development plan for the city in 1995 pursuant to the Local Option Municipal Economic Development Act. The plan was amended and renewed in 1999 and then again in 2004. Under the plan and its amendments and the renewals, the city has implemented our program, our economic development program. So the intent for that program is to enhance businesses and commercial investment in Scottsbluff and surrounding areas, and with the use of indirect financial assistance to prospective or current businesses. The program has enhanced and will continue to enhance the city's ability to compete for new businesses and to promote and expand the city's existing businesses. Primarily, the program's assisted strategy has been the extension of job credits, as we kind of chatted about a little earlier, to those businesses and can expand or create jobs in our local area. This strategy required the creation and retention of full-time jobs along with health insurance and other benefits for those jobs. Thus, the projects funded through the program have generally been connected to businesses where growth is expected. And this can include, as you guys passed at our last city council meeting, businesses that aren't directly in the city of Scottsbluff limits, but within a 65-mile radius, because we can see sales tax effects on our workforce and things like that when we use the program in that way as well. So the businesses eligible for financial assistance are manufacturing articles of commerce, conducting research and development, processing, storing, transporting, or selling of goods, selling services in the interstate commerce, headquarter facilities, telecommunications activities, tourism-related activities, and then these are the 4 new ones that have been added since the plan was last amended. Activities deemed sufficient to establish eligibility, construction and rehabilitation of housing pursuant to workforce housing, retail trade, but that's only within our business improvement district, and then production of films in our area. So those 4 have been added since we last reviewed the plan. And just a little bit more history for those who might not know, the Economic Development Program, or LB 840, is funded by a portion of our city sales and use tax, which is equal to 1/4 of 1%, or 1/6 of our total city sales and use tax. Both of these, both the city sales and use tax and our economic development plan are going to be on the ballot in November up for re-election. They'll be under the ballot as Proposition 1 and Proposition 2. And we've actually formed a grassroots committee to help, to be our champions and campaign for it and put some information out to the public. And we actually have 2 of them here tonight just to show support, I suppose. So due to the success of this program to date, it's brought over 1,200 new jobs and over $21 million in investment to help our city be able to grow. So the city now desires to extend funding of the program and to amend the plan in total as provided in the amendment before you. So with that being said, I would invite you guys to ask questions about the amended and renewed economic development plan, and hopefully myself, Kent, or Kevin can answer any. A lot of words, just wanted a good history and
Yeah.
overview so everybody understood it.
Did your group want to give an update on where they are with the,
If you guys are comfortable with that, yeah?
yeah?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay.
All right, so I'm Charles Liskey, live here in Scottsbluff. Before I was recruited to the area 9 years ago, I served as the Director of Chamber of Commerce in Seward and was also a City Council member in Seward at the time that we were renewing our LB 840 and getting all of that going on. Normally, you would see the chamber or TCD or an organization like that take lead in this, but they're not feeling like they're in a position to do that, and I know how important renewing the city sales taxes, how important LB 840 is. So we formed what we call the Renew the Two PAC. It's a registered political action committee. I'm serving as the treasurer for that, and will kind of be spearheading the efforts of the group. We've developed a sheet, and I can leave a stack of these here, that kind of what we'll be doing for the public, helping them understand the importance of the sales tax and also the importance of the economic development program. Great support from businesses that have already gotten funding in the past and be able to share their stories. And so we're excited about that. Have you all seen the proposed ballot language? Has that come to you as well? Okay. It's quite a bit different than the proposed ballot language that we had in Seward. And one of the things that we really thought about is how is the average citizen going to read it? One of the concerns that I have that you may want to consider is at the end of Proposition 1, where it says subject to the terms and conditions of the proposition is set out below. I think the average citizen may be confused when they then read Proposition 2 and see the cap on that at the 1.2 million. They may think, oh, I should vote no on all of this if I want to save $1.2 million. I'm not sure that the average citizen is going to understand the sales tax as a separate issue, and taking a portion of that for LB 840 is what we're trying to do. And I also don't think that the average citizen understands the detriment it would be to the city if we don't renew the sales tax and what that would do to the budget. And you know, most people, when they look at that $1.2 million, that's a really large number for a lot of people. And if you don't understand it's a $52 million budget, that can seem overwhelming. So that would be something I'd encourage you to take into account. Maybe think about how the lay person would read that. I'm sure from a legal perspective, it's perfectly legal and proper, but may be open to some misinterpretation there. But I'll leave a stack of these on the table over here, so you can see how we're getting started. Any questions for me as the kind of citizen leader of this thing?
Who else is on your committee, Charles?
So Nate Merrigan has been coming to the meetings. I'm really bad with names, but our gentleman who got LB 840 funding to expand his physical therapy business.
Mike is right behind you.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So Mike, who are some of our other folks that have been regulars?
Marla Marks is also on the committee.
Yeah.
Those are kind of our core four, I
Mhm.
would say.
Yeah,
great.
excellent. But, yeah, I'm one of those people that I'll meet you, I'm like, I met you 9 years ago and I know your face, but deal with you for 2 years straight and not remember your name. So, but really putting together a core group of people who understand the program because they've benefited from it in the past and can give those testimonials to the public.
That's
So
great.
is the ballot language final, or can you still work on changing the way it's going to be put on the ballot?
You're gonna decide that tonight,
Okay,
Yeah. It's,
so it's not final.
okay.
one of the things that we did in Seward, which I don't know if we did something we weren't supposed to, or if it might be something to consider, is we actually had in the ballot language that part of why we were proposing this ballot initiative was to reduce the city's reliance on property taxes. That will be one of the things that will happen if the sales tax is renewed. We're gonna, if it's not, we're gonna go from the second lowest levy in the state to probably the maximum levy and still have a shortfall. So that might be one thing to consider as well. But
What's the primary mechanism you plan to use to get this information out to the public? Is it ads, Facebook?
yeah, so that has really shifted a lot. 10 years ago, you couldn't have done a campaign like this without buying TV ads and newspaper ads and those types of things. But the way things have shifted, we're focusing on developing a website that'll have a place for people to go for information. And then as we fundraise, those extra funds are going to go to things like Facebook ads, social media ads. We think that's going to be a more effective way of reaching people. We are considering, if the budget will allow, doing a direct mail piece, something like a full-page postcard or something that would go to registered voters. We've purchased a list of of registered voters in Scottsbluff proper, so
That's good.
those are our ideas, and depending on how fundraising goes and how much money we have, we'll execute as many of those as possible.
Well, we appreciate your support and your help in this, so
Yeah,
it's
thank you.
greatly appreciated.
Any other questions for me?
Question for Sharia. Why the 4 that were added? Just curious.
To be a part of the grassroots committee.
No, to the list of qualifying business. There was 4 at the end, you said they
Oh,
were added.
yes, so I can, the retail trade, it just comes from people trying to apply for LB 840 funds and them just not qualifying. So we decided we wanted to start within the business improvement district just to see who we could get to kind of take a bite of that and apply. For the film, I know that was adopted during the Ballad of Buster Scruggs
Yes.
movie, just to kind of help incentivize the Coen brothers to come and film that movie here, so that maybe that could bring dollars in the future. And then the number 8, any activities deemed sufficient to establish eligibility. I think that was kind of just to help broaden it to whatever we,
Well, there's a state statute that governs all this, and as the legislature adds eligible businesses, we present it to our committees to see if it's something they want to do.
yes,
And so it's not like we've been making these things up.
No.
The state says, if you guys want to do this, you can, and so
yes.
that's where things are.
That's where that, and then the workforce housing, what year, I might not have been, I think it was 2021 that workforce housing,
That sounds reasonable.
that the workforce housing was added, and that was just to help with the housing shortage problem that we are dealing with in the city of Scottsbluff. So that's the reasoning behind those 4.
Okay. Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but maybe just one more comment. I would like us to consider revisiting that conversation with TCD about supporting this work.
Okay. Absolutely.
Yeah, I ditto that, and then the Chamber of Commerce needs to support this, so I know that they're in a transition, but there's no excuse why their board of directors that are community members can't help us with this.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of like it was the perfect storm, a lot of transitioning happening and switching of roles, so it's been kind of interesting to navigate, but those conversations can definitely be had again, and we need to rally together and help support this initiative.
In having said all of that, we really appreciate all the work that Charles and Mike and
Yes.
the groups do. We have a great deal of confidence.
And we know it's a big
Yeah, we'll be
ask, and
able
it's
to-
not necessarily something that people always want to volunteer their time for, but they see the importance in both of these, so, yeah, we do have the most thanks for them.
So if we do have community volunteers, who do they reach out to if they want to help with it?
That's a great question. I think we can get them in contact with the committee, or if the committee would be comfortable, we could give out their information for them to contact them as well. Because we don't have there's not a email or anything specifically for Renew the Two, and we don't. We could set it up easily though, yeah.
Okay.
And there'll be some testimonials from recipients.
Yes, yep, working on getting the testimonials and all of that. Any other questions on the resolution and the plan? And sorry for being so wordy, I did just want it to be clear and.
Okay. All right, we'll close the public hearing. 10, resolution and ordinances. A, council to discuss and consider action on passing a resolution to renew sales and use tax and pass the amended and renewed economic development plan. Okay.
So this is just the resolution to pass the economic development plan. And it does have Proposition 1 and Proposition 2 in this resolution. So we are passing that language tonight too of what the voters will see when they go to the polls in November. So I guess any comments or questions, suggested changes after what has been said tonight?
Yeah, I guess that's my question then. If you had some recommended changes, then, I mean, is this look at that at this point?
What Mr. Liskey didn't like was in Proposition 2, where we have to put the amount of tax we're gonna contribute to a plan.
Okay.
It's a pretty big number. And it gets bigger. It was a 1.2 last time we did it. We're up to 1.35, I think, was the last number that I got from Wayne. But that money does need to be specified, that's 1/6 of our total sales tax review, and, you know, try to draft it as clearly as possible that there's 2 propositions. If it's not, you know, you guys can look over this language and chew on it a little bit. We don't have to have it presented to the county clerk until September 1. That's our deadline. So we're a little early, but since this public hearing was coming up, we thought now would be a good time to start the conversation.
So a question for your attorney brain, because I have a non-attorney brain. At the end of the first one, whether it says subject to terms and conditions of the proposition that's set out below, is that like a legal necessity, or could that be reworded so that?
Well, we have to have the terms and conditions. They can always be reworded if you think it needs to be clarified. I certainly would never turn somebody down to help me clarify something that you think it would be easier for somebody to understand and digest. So, I tried to say, you know, we have 2 propositions here. One is for sales tax, one is for our LB 840 plan.
Yep. And the campaign that they're creating is gearing around renew Proposition 1, Proposition 2. So hopefully that messaging can be concise and clear and not confusing and go along with the ballot language.
Yeah, it's hard, because you could say less is more or more is less, and so.
We have cut it down, Jordan.
Yeah.
Since the last time Mr. Liskey looked at it, we have taken out some of the terms and conditions just to try to make it.
Yeah,
More
because,
simple,
Yeah.
yeah.
so on proposition number 1 with the 1.5, should we put anything in there to say what the total is, so people know that this isn't in addition, or?
Well, we don't know what it is, that's our problem. It's a moving target.
But it's a 1.4, so like right now, we're at a total of 7% within this.
No, we're at 1.5. That's all of ours.
But the total,
Oh, state and
Yeah.
city?
Well, they can't vote on that.
no, I know that, but as a voter, that's what I'm trying to say, like, how do you get it? Well, I guess you already say the city of Scottsbluff, so I'm just trying to think of, okay.
We can make it a lot longer if you wanted to.
No,
Show what everybody's charging across the state, but I didn't think that was a good idea.
I think that's what happened with the swimming pool one. It was too long and they got lost in it.
Yeah.
Considering we are so ahead or early, is it worth considering tabling it to let your committee review it more or have additional recommendations or whatever?
Of course.
Yeah, that's entirely up to you guys.
It's up to
Yep.
you guys, yeah.
More time to finesse the language might be nice, just so everyone's quite comfortable and feels like it represents what you're wanting to put forward to the public.
the other thought I have too is trying to get it so it's not for folks to think that it's new, it's been there, so like we say here on proposition number 1, I'm opposed to sale and use tax, would it behoove us to put since 19 blah 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 that we've had this and we're just
Say
renewing it?
Renew.
Renew, I would say.
So, just some thoughts, I don't know. I don't wanna make it too hard, but I want it to pass,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
Must we
And
use
that
the
is something we
wording
have weighed heavily over, like renew, not, yeah.
There's actually language in the statute that says, here's what you're supposed to use, and imposes in there.
Is it? Okay, it sounds like
So
you're in position.
I'd hate to vary on that, but I think we could say, you know, we're gonna renew a tax imposed on these things. If you guys wanna read it, you know, it's in 77-27-142
Got it.
is the statute. In case you're interested, it says,
How do you do that?
I'm sure it's short.
That's what he gets paid for, yeah.
those are the things that keep me awake at night. Especially after our LD 357
Yeah.
Yeah.
adventures the last few years, but if you guys feel more comfortable tabling it, please do, and then we can look it over the next couple of weeks. I hate to get into that last meeting in August though, if you know what I mean, so,
We'll have to decide by the next one.
well, I would like to see
Yeah.
that, so.
Okay.
Okay.
We'll move to table the resolution for the time being.
Okay,
Second.
motion by Scanlon, second by Vidlac. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Scanlon,
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Vidlac,
Yes.
B, council to consider action on the third reading of the ordinance amending land use permit fees.
An ordinance of the city of Scottsbluff, Nebraska, amending the Scottsbluff Municipal Code relating to land use permit fees in Chapter 6, Article 6, Section 29, Chapter 21, Article 1, Section 65 and 68, and Chapter 25, Article 17, Section 3, repealing the prior sections of the municipal code, providing for an effective date, and providing for publication in pamphlet form.
Okay?
Do you guys have any questions? Okay,
No? Okay.
Are these starting with the new budget year then, or?
yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Scanlon, second by Solomon. Any questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Vidlac,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Scanlon,
Yes.
C, council to consider action on the third reading of the ordinance relating to fees for fire plan review and fire inspections.
An ordinance of the city of Scottsbluff, Nebraska, amending and revising sections 6-6-10.1 and 6-6-10.2 of the Scottsbluff Municipal Code relating to fees for plan review and fire inspections to determine compliance with the Fire Prevention Code, repealing prior sections, providing for an effective date, and providing for publication in pamphlet form.
Okay. And do we have a motion to approve this ordinance?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Scanlon, second by Colwell. Any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
McCarrigan,
Yes.
Scanlon,
Yes.
Caldwell,
Yes.
Vidlac,
Yes.
Solomon,
Yes.
Okay. D, council to consider action on the second reading of the ordinance adopting the 2023 National Electric Code.
An ordinance dealing with electricity, amending the Scottsbluff Municipal Code at section 4-2-33, adopting the 2023 National Electrical Code, subject to certain stipulated modifications, repealing the former section, providing for an effective date, and publication shall be in pamphlet form.
Okay. E, council to consider action on the second reading of the ordinance to consider a plat vacation of Lot 2A and 2B McDonald's subdivision, a replat of part of Lot 2 McDonald's subdivision, Lot 2 McDonald's subdivision, Lot 1 Massid subdivision, a replat of Lot 8A Massid subdivision and part of Lot 2 McDonald subdivision, Lot A, Massid subdivision, a subdivision of part of Tract 24 Goose Tracks, part of Tract 23, and part of Tract 24 Goose Tracks.
An ordinance of the city of Scottsbluff, Nebraska, vacating Lot 2A and 2B McDonald subdivision, a replat of part of Lot 2 McDonald subdivision, Lot 2 McDonald subdivision, Lot 1 Massid subdivision, a replat of Lot A Massid subdivision and part of Lot 2 McDonald subdivision, Lot A Massid subdivision, a subdivision of part of Tract 24 Goose Tracks, part of Tract 23 and part of Tract 24 Goose Tracks, all being additions to the city of Scottsbluff, Scottsbluff County, Nebraska, with said vacation to include a part of a 20-foot utility easement as platted in deed book 139, page 148, and except for a permanent easement as described in miscellaneous book 135, page 521 through 528, and providing for publication in pamphlet form.
Great job.
Glasses on.
Mayor and council, we're gonna ask that you waive the third reading. This is the property that the new Arby's is gonna be built on. And this is just vacating all of those lots and combining them into one. Then we can register the plat and they can get their permit and they can start construction.
Okay. Do we have a motion to waive the third reading?
I move to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Solomon, second by Colwell. Any questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Caldwell.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes. Do we have a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Scanlon, second by Vidlac. Any questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Scanlon.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
Caldwell.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
11, petitions, communications, and public input. A, council to discuss and consider action on a community festival permit to include vendors and noise permit for the Downtown Scottsbluff Association sidewalk sales on Broadway, July 18th through the 20th, 2024, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Hello.
Hello, good evening, council and mayor. I'm Tina Worthman. I'm actually representing the Downtown Scottsbluff Association this evening. I'm at the Midwest Theater, but I think I drew the short straw, so I'm here. But, so I am asking for a permit for us to be able to do sidewalk sales downtown this weekend. As we all know, it's one of the favorite activities downtown. The only thing that we'll have is merchandise for sale on the sidewalks, so it's not going to be a road closure or anything like that, so.
Okay. All right. Any issues, Kevin?
None, they've been doing this for quite a few years.
A long time. If only the bunny shop was still there, but it's been gone for decades.
Okay.
I've heard the public would like a carnival back in the space with road closures. Any plans for that in the future?
I don't think I'm up for that one, maybe someday. Ugh, I just got done doing Oregon Trail Days in Gearing, so I think I might pass on that one for just a while.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Colwell, second by Scanlon. Any questions, comments? Call the roll, please.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Caldwell.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Yes.
B, council to discuss and consider action on a community festival permit for the Scottsbluff Police Department for National Night Out 2024 on August 6, 2024, from 6 to 8 p.m. to include vendors, noise permit, and the street closure of the 1500 to 1900 blocks of Broadway.
Your mayor and council, this has to be close to 25 years.
Yeah.
We've been doing this, very successful event, very well attended, so does involve some street closure, but very, very well attended event. So.
Okay.
Any notable changes this year, or really just business as usual?
Should be very similar to years past. So.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Colwell, second by Solomon. Any questions, comments? Call the roll, please.
McCarrigan.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Yes.
Vidlac.
Yes.
Caldwell.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
12, council reports informational only. This item is intended for council members to update and inform other council members of meetings attended since the last city council meeting. Do you have any updates?
I have a short one from the zoo. So they did their first kids fishing day at the zoo, and it went well, except that it was so hot, the fish weren't biting, so Game and Parks helped them out, and Game and Parks really had fun with it, so they're going to go ahead and do another one probably in the fall when it's a little cooler, and Game and Parks is going to come back, and then all the fish that are caught are going to go to Smokey the Bear and the 2 hyenas, so it'll be really productive.
All right.
I got a couple things. Comprehensive plan tomorrow with the Midwest from 4 to 6. We will meet with Marvin Planning Consultants earlier in the day prior to that and kind of get an idea of what's expected of us. And just so everybody knows, there'll be a total of 2 open houses, 3 public workshops with a steering committee, and then some open houses.
So the one tomorrow night, Kevin, is it just like to,
It's just the kickoff.
just a
So,
kickoff?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's just the kickoff. Hopefully, it's an opportunity to get information out to the community and kind of get them excited.
Okay.
And a little bit of information about what's going to be happening. And just encourage involvement, participation. I've had a few phone calls of people that can't be there tomorrow but want to provide input, so that's good. People are seeing our ad anyway, so. In the library, Wednesday, I think they're gonna be done, and there'll be somebody here to finish the work on that cooling tower and get it working, so.
okay,
That's Wednesday. Budget workshop, July 25th, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then we have a Heartland Express meeting Thursday, and we will talk about the annual meeting, which will be in August in Chapman. So,
Budget, you said 8 a.m.'s for start. Okay.
And I attended the Welcoming Communities Conference at the Civic Center. That was a neat experience. There was a lot of good networking and also conversation on how to craft a city that is truly inclusive and an attitude of health for everybody that lives here. So it was a good day as well.
all right. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion by Scanlon, second by Colwell. Call the roll, please.
Caldwell.
Yes.
Solomon.
Yes.
Goodlatte.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Yes.
McCarrigan.
Yes.